Hi, I'm Molly Armstrong.
And I'm Garrett Liff-Weiss.
And welcome to this week's episode of SVSN News.
Alright, let's just hop right into our first segment. We have Song of the Week with Hank. Out to you, Hank.
Thanks, Workman here with Song of the Week. I'm here with my co-field reporter, Kevin. He's my main man. The Song of the Week is Happy by Will Ferrell. This Saturday is the 2-year anniversary of the song Happy. Now, this song is really awesome. Only one teacher can come up to such awesomeness. That's Mrs. Bentley. I'll take it off to her.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.
That was great. Now back to you, Garrett and Molly.
Yo, thanks, Hank.
Now, let's take it out to one of my personal favorite segments, History Fun Facts with Jay Will. Let's take it out to Patrick.
I'm here with the always handsome Jared Daniel Williams. Mr. Williams, what is our history fun fact?
Well, since we're in November, let's talk about the fall of the Berlin Wall that happened in November of 1989.
What exactly was the Berlin Wall? What kind of purpose did it serve, Mr. Williams?
Well, the Berlin Wall was constructed early in the 1960s to separate the communist world from the free world as a part of the larger Iron Curtain to keep people from escaping from the communist-controlled countries inside of Europe.
That sounds interesting, Mr. Williams. What exactly happened to the Berlin Wall?
Well, there was a little miscommunication at a press conference in 1989 that led people to think the wall was open, and people from both sides, East and West Germany, came together and started ripping the wall down with sledgehammers and axes.
That sounds like Coach going in the football locker room. Mr. Williams, how did America react to this?
Well, our president at the time was a guy by the name of George Herbert Walker Bush. He had been on the phones all day talking to the communist leaders, and they had told him, please don't overreact and don't celebrate because we might lose control of our country, the military might take over, and this could actually end in some serious bloodshed. So Bush was sitting in the White House and simply just said, this is a good development. And he received a lot of heat in the press for not celebrating because this was one of the greatest victories America had experienced on a world stage since the end of World War II. But history has actually proven President Bush's actions to be correct.
Wow, Mr. Williams, you're such an intelligent man.
Well, thank you.
Mr. Williams, how do you know so much about this subject?
Well, Patrick, I wrote my master's degree thesis on the fall of the Berlin Wall at Ashland University.
At Ashland University, is there anything else that you'd like to add to this?
Come to think of it, Patrick, I've heard that Capital University has a piece of the Berlin Wall.
Has a piece of the Berlin Wall. That is coming from Miss Cook. Mr. Williams, it has been a pleasure doing this segment with you. Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, Patrick. That sure was historific.
Alright, do you really know your principal?
We do.
Thanks to Tatiana with the interview. Out to you, Tatiana.
Thank you, Molly and Garrett. I'm here with Mr. Reuter, and I'm going to ask him some questions. Are you from Piketon or Waverly?
Actually, I'm from Waverly. I graduated from Waverly High School in 1989. I ended up going to Ohio University, and I stayed there. Actually worked at Cardo's Pizza in Athens for Ohio University and helped pay my way through college. And I not only have a bachelor's degree from OU, I actually have a master's degree from OU also. I went 3 years and I came back to OUC for a fourth year. It actually took 5 years to graduate. I started out in business and I decided that wasn't quite for me, and then I went in education. And so that put me behind about a year to a year and a half. And so I went the first 3 years to OU, came back to OUC, got a lot of core stuff in, and then went back my last year at OU. And one of the funny things about living there my 5th year at OU, I actually couldn't afford to live in the dorms because I was still working and then driving back and forth for a while. I actually lived in a camper outside, about 15 miles outside of OU with my cousin. And the both of us lived in that RV for about 4 to 5 months. And that is how I finished my college career. So it wasn't in a dorm, it wasn't in a house, I finished it in an RV.
Where were you a teacher at?
My first job, well, let me step back. When I was subbing, I subbed for about 227 days, which was the equivalent of a year and a half. So I paid my dues on that part of it. I did a little bit of proficiency teaching way back when the proficiency test was still around at Waverly, but that was also during subbing. And I actually got my first job at Southeastern High School, and I taught senior government, I taught freshman geography, and I taught a sophomore PE class.
That's a lot of classes.
That's a lot of classes.
For how long did you teach there?
Well, I was there for 1 year, and then I came back to Waverly High School, and I was there for 3 years. And so in 2001, I got my first job at Jasper Elementary. I was the assistant principal, and I was also the assistant basketball coach. And so for the last 16 years, I've been at Scioto Valley Locals. That first probably year and a half was Jasper, and the next 14 and a half have been right here at Piketon Junior Senior High School.
What are the most important duties you have as a principal?
Well, the most important thing as a principal, to be honest with you, and I've had a chance to do Mr. Owens' job. I did that for 8.5 years. And that was, on his side of the job, he deals strictly with the kids and the discipline issues and things like that. Over here on this side, where Mr. McCann was at for the first 8.5 years of my career at the high school, I really consider myself the lead learner of the high school. You always set the way things are going to go at the high school. You deal with mostly the teachers, which is kind of there's a catch-22 there. You don't get a chance to get as close to the kids as you did when you were the assistant principal. But you get closer to the teachers. So again, that's with a lot of high schools, you only have one principal. We're fortunate to have two with the amount of kids that we have here. But basically, as a principal, you make sure that things are going the way they need to be going. You make sure the teachers have everything they need to be successful. And sometimes, to be honest with you, you give them what they need and then you stay out of the way. Because at this place, we have a tremendous amount of people that are leaders. We have a tremendous amount of people that are not afraid to take on responsibilities. There's not a whole lot, and this is just being honest, there's not a whole lot of teachers that have come to me in the last 6 years without a solution to things. So that is what I love about Piketon Junior Senior High School. We have great teachers, we have great kids, and the fact that we have so many people that are willing to take a risk, they're willing to fail. Not everything they're going to do in a classroom is going to be successful. But we want to always emphasize that for the kids, it's okay to fail. And when you fail forward, you make sure that you do it better the next time. And we have a lot of teachers that are just very, very good at that.
Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, Tatiana. The more you know.
Our field reporters Alex and Sarah are out with November's Teacher of the Month, Miss Burkett. Let's take it out to Alex and Sarah.
Thanks, Molly and Garrett. In school, we always seem to hear about the accomplishments of the students, but never seem to hear about what the teachers are up to. So without further ado, we have the Teacher of the Month for November, Mrs. Burkett, who teaches keyboarding and computer appliances.
Thank you. I just want to say that normally I would have worn a dress for this interview, but my precious Steelers finally won a game yesterday, so I had to wear my Steelers garb today, and I had to say, sorry, Mr. Owens, about your Raiders. Okay, ready.
What made you decide to teach?
I would say there were 2 reasons that I went into teaching. First of all, I had an awesome experience as a student. I enjoyed all of my school years, from the time I started kindergarten till the time I graduated from Piketon. Loved my teachers, loved my classes, loved school in general. So that was probably one of the first parts that made me want to be a teacher. And then the second part, I would say my family, my parents really stressed the importance of education. And then I have 4 older sisters, 3 of whom who chose to be teachers, 1 a school psychologist. So I was definitely around the classroom prep and the grading papers and the school talk, and so had really good role models in that way. So I'd say those 2 things are what influenced my decision to also become a teacher.
Okay, and you've been a teacher for 17 years and have taught a wide variety of subjects such as lead and math and now keyboarding. So can you tell me how all of those kind of compared and contrasted to each other?
Lead was my first teaching ever when I graduated from college. That was my first job. And it involved a lot of travel because it was a county-wide program, Piketon, Eastern, and Western. It also involved a lot of behind-the-scenes planning for field trips and activities and things in that regard. So that made that a little different from the regular classroom. And then with 5th grade math, math for me as a student was my favorite subject. So it was really neat to get to teach that content to students. And finally now with 7th grade keyboarding, this is also different for me, and I like to kind of tap into my creative side and come up with ways to make something that's sort of can be a monotonous skill and drill type of class and try to make it as interesting as possible for the kids. So they've each been very different, but they've definitely each been a blessing, and I've enjoyed each one a lot. So,
What do you enjoy most about teaching?
snow days. No, I'm kidding. Not snow days. My students for sure. I love getting to meet them each year and spend about a year with them and watch them learn and progress and get better. And that's definitely the best part. Sometimes I tell them that hopefully teachers are one little piece of glitter in their big sparkle of life, and hopefully we're giving them some, some good things that they'll carry on. Also, I love seeing former students out doing big, beautiful things. That just is the most rewarding part of teaching, is seeing students be successful later on.
Yeah, so obviously you love your job very much.
Thank you for this lovely interview. And at least this time no one ran out of their classroom in anger. Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, Alex and Sarah.
So, y'all like hot dogs?
I like hot dogs.
You wanna know who else likes hot dogs? B-Dad.
Let's take it out to SVSN's very own B-Daddy.
Hey everybody, welcome to Brunch with B-Dad. I'm going to teach you how to make a hot dog. And for this, you need a microwave, a hot dog, and a paper towel. So number 1, you want to take the hot dog and wrap it up in the paper towel. Number 2, put it in the microwave for say about 30 seconds. Number 3, go get your bun. The bun's the most important part. And then you take the hot dog out of the microwave after it beeps, and you put the hot dog in the bun, wait it to cool down, and put your favorite condiment on it, and then you eat it. Thanks everybody for watching Brunch with B-Dad. Back to you, Molly and Garrett.
Thanks, B-Dad. That was pretty interesting. Now, Molly, I know you've been helping out with the junior musical just as much as I have. So I know that you can recommend very strongly for all of you to go see it this weekend.
Yep, we've been really hard at work the past couple months, and it's absolutely crucial that we make ticket sales. Showtimes are Friday, November 13th at 7 p.m., Saturday at 2 and 7, and Sunday at 2.
Write that down. All right, now let's take it out to the SVSN sports team.
Folks, welcome to the 7th episode of SVSN. I'm your sports anchor, Gabe Burkheimer. And I'm your other sports anchor, Bradley Sickles. And we got Wacky Sports, Gabe. Wacky! We got giant spheres of cheese? Spherical! Our very own Eric Mullins is out with Wacky Sports with giant spheres of cheese. Out to Eric.
Cheese balls rolling down a hill. People, catch them. First one to the bottom with the big balls of cheese wins. And wins the prize. Balls of cheese.
Welcome back! Thank you for that cheesy report, Eric. In a completely unrelated topic, we've had a special handcrafted episode full of love and heart about the SVC playoffs. Out to Andrew Thompson with more on the story.
We had some SVC playoff action this past Friday and Saturday. I went to Zane Trace to see this unfold.
Even though the Red Streaks were unfortunate not to earn a playoff spot, there were other SVC teams that were able to have one. Zane Trace played River Valley last Friday night, beating the Raiders 34-0. Overall, they had more big plays, and the turnover differential was crucial. Also, Paint Valley played a very good Newark Catholic team in overtime, 21-20. Newark Catholic has won 9 state championships, so it was a big accomplishment for the Bearcats. Back to you, Brad and Gabe.
Thank you, Andrew, for that awesome report. And now, to end this amplified episode. That's all the time we have. I'm your sports anchor, Gabe Burkheimer, and your other anchor, Bradley Sickles. And to all of you out there in the valley, keep it classy!
I want to see some whips and mayonnaise.
Without further ado, we have our second teacher of the month for notes.
Oh, that's right. I skipped the last part.
What did you say? Why am I so brain dead? Okay, I should write it down, okay.
There you go.
Thank you, Andrew, for that amazing report. Oh!
Cheese rolls. People.
Chris, Garrett's like falling, and I'm like.
Okay.